BJP Mahila Morcha Nagaland pra aji Dimapur de 33% women reservation bill of women's conference lua de so Maki Khan Mon Mila Kurigina 33% women's reservation bill ke support kuribuli resolution bunaishi abi details abo report aduna lode
Hornbill TV itia town hall Dimapur te aigina ase Nagaland BJP Mahila Morcha pra lead kurigina Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam itu bill 30% women reservation bill support kurigina ahanisna ajibi yare town hall te Mahila Samilan conference itu alag political parties CSOs entrepreneurs kan women kan aigina aji ete Samilan te participate kurigina itia jayase aru aji itu Mahila Samilan te ekta dangor mohan janibo parala tu aji itu Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam 33 women reservation ke sab manu support ase koigina ekta resolution banaina aji idu samilan tu khotom hoise aibi itu laga samilan laga details man itia sailo.
Today we stand at a turning point in our democracy. The Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam is not just a bill. It is a recognition of half of our population, of voices that have been built our homes, our economy and our culture, yet remained unrepresented where laws are made. I raise today to express heartfelt gratitude to our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi for the historic step of implementing 33 reservation under his leadership. This leadership with vision, it takes courage to bring cultural change, and the Prime Minister has shown that commitment by placing Nari Shakti at the center of India's democracy journey. For 75 years, we spoke about equality. This act moves us from words to action by reserving 33% of seats for women in Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies. Representation is not a favor. It is a foundation of justice. When women sit at the table, policies on health, education, safety, and economy opportunity change. Some asked why reservation, because opportunity without access is not equality. Systematic gaps in politics have kept capable women out. This Adhiniyam breaks that cycle and creates pipeline of leadership of our next generation of girls. The act is also designed with care. It includes reservation with dense shuttle castes, shuttle tribe quotas, and 15-year review clause, ensuring balance and accountability. It will come into effect after delimitation, giving time for smooth implementation. Today, I take the privilege to share amongst us how far our women have breakthrough in our state, Nagaland, under the leadership of our Honorable Chief Minister, Dr. Nefiu. One cabinet minister, Mr. Salotono Kruse, and Mrs. Hekani Jakolo as advisor. In Siminu Town Council, the council office is run 100% by women. Outweizer Town Council chairperson, a woman, Mr. Skitoli Najeb. Deputy chairperson of Kohima Municipal Council, Tiniso Sekose. And today we have Madam Imli Naro with us, Deputy chairperson of Dimapur Municipal Council. In June 2024, Nagaland historically elected 102 women, additional 8 from unreserved seats to urban local bodies across 39 municipalities and town councils, making the first 33% of seats represent over 37% of the local reservation, 278 seats in civic bodies. The youngest elected member is 22-year-old Nizam Honi I Moji from Ward number 1 of Bantari Town Council. In Wakha district from BJP ticket was a part of historic intake. The oldest woman, Sebilu, age 71, Ward number 6 of Parent Town Council from NDPP, now NPF. Nari Shakti is not a slogan, it is India's strength. Our growth story is incomplete if women are not equal partners in political power. By supporting the Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam, we are supporting one group over another. We are supporting a stronger, more complete democracy. Women empowerment is not merely a women's issue. It is a necessary ongoing transformation for building a just, modern, and developed society where both women and men work forward together. On behalf of citizens who believes in inclusive India, I thank the Honorable Prime Minister for acting decisively. This is a milestone, and history will remember the leadership that made it possible today. Let us take this step together and give full support. Let us ensure that next chapter of India is written by all of India.
Today I stand before you not just as a leader, but as a proud daughter of the Naga soil, a land where women have always been the backbone of society. From our fields to our homes, from our markets to our churches, Naga women have carried the weight of responsibility with dignity, strength, and resilience. And yet, I ask you, where are we when decisions are made? We build our communities, but we are missing from the tables where policies are shaped. We nurture generations, yet our voices are absent in governance. This is the reality we must confront today. Let us be honest. This is not about tradition. This is not about preserving culture. This is about exclusion. Our customs have always valued strength, courage, and community. Nowhere do they say that women must be silent or invisible in leadership. If anything, our traditions speak of balance, of shared responsibility, of unity. So let us not allow culture to be misused as a shield to deny women their rightful place. The 33% women reservation is not a gift, it is not a favor, it is justice long overdue. And yesterday, even at the national level, leaders like Sonia Gandhi have made an important point. The question of whether women deserve reservation has already been settled. The real challenge now lies in implementation, process like delimitation, technical as they may sound, determined when and how this promise becomes a reality. And when such processes are delayed or unclear, it is not just administration that is affected, it is justice itself. If systems and procedures are used to postpone women's participation, then we must ask, are we truly committed to equality, or are we finding new ways to be delayed? In Nagaland, this question becomes even more urgent, because here women have already waited long enough, not just for representation, but for recognition in decision-making spaces. We cannot afford to let procedural delays become another barrier for Naga women. Justice delayed for women is democracy denied. Because when women are part of governance, priorities change. We see strong focus on education, on healthcare, on sanitation, on the welfare of families and communities. We see governance that reflect the reality of all people, not just half of it. Look around us. Naga women are already leaders. We lead our self-help groups. We manage our markets. We guide our families. We serve our churches with unwavering commitment. So why is it that when it comes to political leadership, we are asked to step back? This must change. And let us say this clearly. This is not about taking power away from men. This is about sharing responsibilities. This is about building a stronger, more inclusive Nagaland together. To those who resist this change, I say, do not fear women's leadership. Fear the cost of continued exclusion. Think of the opportunities we have already lost. Think of the voices that were never heard. Think of the policies that were never shaped by the wisdom of women. We cannot afford to wait any longer. To our lawmakers, I urge you, implement the 33% women reservation with sincerity and commitment, not just on paper, but in spirit. To my sisters, I say, this is our moment. Step forward, prepare yourselves, claim your space with confidence and courage. And let us stand united across tribes, across regions, across generations, because when we stand together, no barrier is too strong. I will end with this. We are not asking for space. We are claiming what has been ours. When Naga women rise, Nagaland rises.
Today, I stand here to champion the 33% Women's Reservation Bill, not as a quota, but as a launchpad for our women's true potential. Women already drive 14% of India's startup, yet we hold just 18% of parliamentary seats. In my world of beauty and skincare, I've seen so many businesses led by women innovate faster, empathize deeper with customers, and boost revenue by 20 to 30%. And studies from the World Bank shows countries with higher female representation growing 1 to 2% faster annually. I think reservation bridges the gap, ensuring women aren't just participants, but architects of policy. For decades, men dominated more than 82% of seats. Merit built on exclusion. Now 33%, I believe, levels the field. It sparks the competition that lifts everyone. In Nagaland, where community and culture intertwine, this means more women like me mentoring interns, leading local enterprises, and weaving our stories into the national fabric. We need 33% reservation. Why? Because women, we make the most caring and wise decisions for schools, for health, and a better tomorrow. Think about it. In every family, women are the heart. We wake up early to cook, teach our kids values like honesty and hard work. We care for our elders, for our family, and we keep the home strong even in tough times. That is the power of women. And when we empower each woman with a voice in the parliament, that family strength grows to the whole society. Healthier kids, united communities, and real progress for all. I believe when a woman rises, her family rises, and India rises. So let's all support this bill to ignite that transformation. Let's build an India where every woman's voice shape our shared destiny.
Our state witnessed a significant influx of women, with 198 women participating in the ULB elections, where 102 won from reserved seats and 8 from unreserved seats. This victory rate clearly showed that the Naga women were ready, and there was a gradual shift in our political attitudes. With the support of the public, we witnessed a fair and peaceful elections which were conducted successfully. Even the Supreme Court lauded Nagaland's efforts, saying that conducting the civic polls with a record number of participants, women participants and winners, which was very commendable. All these measures highlights a targeted approach of our able leader, the Honorable Chief Minister of Nagaland, Dr. Neiphiu Rio, to integrate women in levels of policy, development, and organizational culture. For the first time, as Madam Vikali rightly pointed, we have 2 women representatives in the Nagaland State Legislative Assembly. Our CM has fulfilled a promise after decades to the women of our state by implementing the 33% reservation in Nagaland after a gap of 20 years. Even in this year's state budget, our CM presented a dedicated gender budget focusing on women empowerment, allocating funds to promote women entrepreneurship. When we see the male and female ratios of our state based on the 2011 census and the 2025 projections, there are 931 to 940 females per 1,000 males in our state. This is encouraging to know that the demographics of this census, that women will no longer be underrepresented in the years to come when such quotas are implemented by the government at the center. The 33% reservation is not about replacing anyone. It is about inclusive leadership where every voice contributes to common good. Let us engage with our hearts and practical minds Let us honor the potential of every girl, every woman, by ensuring that opportunities are real, measurable, and lasting.
The 33% reservation, also known as the Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam, is a significant legislative landmark, no doubt. But more importantly, it is a milestone in a long historical trajectory. This act should be understood as the formalization of a demand for parity that women across this country have articulated for generations. Personally, to me, and I agree to what one of my former speakers have already said, it is less a political gift and more the settling of a long-awaited democratic debt given to women. The hard-won fruit of decades of sustained pressure, hardship, and labor. We celebrate today because this outcome was not inevitable. It was earned. Amingan itu kamay siya. So many women before us, they have gone through immeasurable barriers, structural barriers, to make us see this day. We are entitled to it, so it is earned. As women, we are rightfully optimistic and proud to see this struggle finally reach its institutional culmination. It is overdue, but it is here. And this in itself, per se, is a victory for the character of our democracy. However, the work does not end here with the passing of a bill. This is the opening of a door. And our responsibility now is to use this space well, indeed, very well, to ensure that our representation is substantive, diverse, and rooted in the real needs of our communities, particularly in a patriarchal society like Nagaland. We aren't just looking for seeds in a hole. We are looking to bring our unique perspectives across the table to the hearts of those in the seat of power and governance, ensuring this progress continues to grow far beyond this moment of celebration, far beyond today. Reservation is necessary, in fact, rather a necessity, especially in our context, not because we lack political leadership, but because deeply rooted societal and cultural norms and practices often limits us from access to opportunities, decision-making spaces, and leadership roles. These structural barriers and not lack of capabilities have historically hindered and have been an impediment for women's equal participation in the political landscape. Hence, as mandated for similar cause, purpose, and advocacy on women's issue, the NSCW wholeheartedly welcomed this historic move and remains hopeful that it will usher in a new era of empowerment, inclusion, and balanced representation for women across the nation, not only here in Nagaland, but especially in all the tribal and marginalized communities.
The 33 women reservation is about correcting imbalance and ensuring fair participation in decision making. Here's why it's considered important. Number one, historical underrepresentation. Women make nearly half the population, yet their presence in legislature, councils, and leadership roles has traditionally been extremely low. A 33 quota helps bridge that gap. Number two, strong, more inclusive decisions. When women are part of the decision-making bodies, policies tend to better reflect issues like health, education, safety, and livelihoods, areas that directly affects families and communities. Number 3, level playing field. Social, cultural, and structural barriers often limit women entry into politics or leadership. Reservation creates space so women can participate equally. Number 4, proven impact at grassroots level. In India, reservation for women in panchayats has shown positive results. Better governance, more focus on community welfare, and increased confidence among women leaders. Number 5, encourage future generations. Seeing women in leadership roles inspire young girls to aim higher and participate in public life. Number 6, not permanent but corrective. The 33 reservation is often seen as temporary measures to correct long-standing imbalance until equal participation become natural. In conclusion, I would say, in simple terms, it's about fair representation, stronger governance, and social progress, not just for women, but for society as a whole. In the end, I would conclude with this quote: to every single woman, young or present today, know that you are important. Know that you can make a difference in this society, in this community. And women belong in all places where decisions are made.
It is indeed a renewed empowerment for all the women folk and the Naga women in particular. We may not fully understand the depth and its implications to our society. However, we hope for a better social prospect. We welcome this Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam. With the enactment of these provisions, I want to urge Naga women that this should not destroy our Naga ethos, culture, religions. I also reaffirm that the Naga women are never considered less than any man folk. This Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam must be in the ambit of God's blessings. So our Naga society will not only benefit, but flourish today and in future.
From my faith perspective, I see this not only as a political matter, but as a moral and theological concern. At the heart of our faith is the affirmation that every human being is created in the image of God, endowed with dignity, worth, and the capacity to contribute meaningfully to the society. When women are excluded from decision-making spaces, that dignity is not fully recognized. The call for the 33% reservation is therefore not merely about representation, it is about restoring justice, affirming dignity, and creating space for shared participation in shaping our common future. In today's context, this calls for the intentional inclusion of women in political leadership. This is not about competition, as some of the former speakers have shared, but it is about complementarity. It is about men and women working together for the flourishing of the society. From a theological perspective, we are called to seek the welfare of the city that we find in Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 7, to act justly, to love mercy, and walk humbly with God, as we find in Micah chapter 6, verse 8. These values compel us to support structures that promote fairness and participation. The 33% reservation is one such step toward a more just and inclusive society. As Dimapur Women for City Impact, we believe that when women are empowered to lead, communities are strengthened, voices are diversified, and governance becomes more responsive to the needs of the people. I conclude my speech by affirming that empowering women is not a loss, but a collective gain for the society. We, the DWCI, extend our full support to the implementation of the 33% Women's Reservation Bill.
Today, on the 16th April 2026, the Naga women in general have resolved that we support the passing of the 33% women reservation in the Parliament and the state assemblies. Should we all agree to that? Please lift up your hands, those who agree to that. Thank you. Today's gathering shows the world that for women, whichever political party we belong to, or wherever or whatever profession we are into, we are drawn together like magnets to support each other and stand boldly and bravely and say, we can do it. Today, in this new millennium, what is there which women cannot? There are women in the air, land, and sea defending the country. There are engineers, doctors, scientists, academicians, businesswomen in the corporate world. There is no institution in the world where women are not present or involved and also excel in whichever field they are involved. We have a woman as the president of our country. We have one of the finest finance minister in the country in Madam Nirmala Sitharaman. But for women, we have to work double times harder to achieve any dreams that we have.
Do you really know what you're eating? Not all eggs are the same. Choose Junaki eggs you can trust. At Junaki, quality begins at the source. Fresh, safe, and perfect for your family.
Every Junaki egg is lab tested for safety and harmful bacteria.
Bring home the nutrition your family truly deserves.